Hello everyone, I'm Mug and welcome back to the Satisfactory Report, bringing you news and discussion about the upcoming game. The closed alpha has been going for a few months now, and every week Coffee Stain has been dishing out varying numbers of keys, putting the total over 7,000. Last week, after a long while, we got another of Jace's developer interview videos, this time with Natalie, the UI designer. She spoke about the evolution of the game's UI, and we got to see a number of pre-alpha HUD versions, which we've put under the microscope to find more clues about the game. We've also had updates from Jace regarding Coffee Stain's recent buyout by THQ Nordic, as well as the decision to move Satisfactory from Steam to the Epic Games launcher. Joining me this week is, for the first time, EViLGUARD.
Hi.
And seePyou.
Hello everybody.
Good to have you both on board.
Happy to be here.
So, obviously the main thing we have to discuss this week is the new developer highlight with the UI UX designer, Natalie. I think the first thing for me that jumps out is we get to see some early UI versions.
Which is interesting.
It shows you where they started from, if you like, just sense of progression.
Yeah, like in that first shot you see at 13 seconds, which is intriguing seeing it going back all the way to 2016. You can even see like the default Unreal Engine hand there and stuff, but it's cool just to see how far it's come. We see quite a few different iterations of the menu. First couple of things that jump out to me in there, obviously there's no way of knowing if any of this stuff is actually in the game, but it gives us some clues about things that might be. In there is a oil water pump listed, indicating that at least at some point there were liquids.
Well, there's still gonna be liquids. I don't know if there are not gonna be any liquids. But the point is this an oil pump that works by water, or is this an oil or water pump?
I would guess it's an oil or water pump, though they have said that there's nothing we can do with water now, so I guess if that was in at that point, they've since removed it.
Could very well be.
The other really interesting one I'm seeing on that particular shot is wind turbine.
Oh, we're gonna have to have clean air, right?
Well, the thing is, we don't see any of those in any of the footage that we've saw so far. So, is it still there? Is it removed? Is it like? But
yeah, we can only guess, can't we?
Yeah, it's an interesting because that means there might be like winds mechanic where some places are more windy than others. So that's kind of interesting too.
The very next menu has an oil refinery.
Yeah. So
they are serious about oil.
And we saw a few buildings before in various trailers that we've assumed were to do with oil.
I just cannot see any technological game of this nature going without plastics. And how do you justify bringing plastics without having oil?
Well, you grow it. You grow it.
Well,
obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, you can.
No, we're gonna find an alien that grows natural plastic on its back, and we're gonna hurt it.
And actually, we see the wind turbine again on the second iteration of the menu. So they clearly had it for a little while if they don't have it now.
Yep, in the power tub. It's right there, first one.
Yeah.
With iron rod and iron plate and wire.
We also get to see an old version of the some sort of crafting machines menu. Obviously, we've seen a more up-to-date one in Jace's demo video.
Yes, but this one actually has multiple recipes instead of the Jace video, which only has one.
Yeah. And that's actually interesting because if you look at all the recipe, there's stuff that I'm pretty sure we've never seen before.
Mega Constructor.
I mean, to be honest, I'm guessing things like Mega Constructor are going to just be, you know, early names for things. Like, we know we've got a constructor, a manufacturer, and an assembler. So presumably that's one of them.
But why would a Mega Constructor have the rifle receiver?
Well, that's a good question because, like, does that mean that at some point we are able, for example, to manufacture turrets for some sort of things? Or was it there and it was removed? Because, like, having, like, 20 rifle receiver doesn't seem really useful to me.
And they did say that they had turrets.
But they removed them, yeah.
Yeah,
so
exactly. That might be it. And that might explain the AI controller chip, too. So.
Yeah, AI controller chip, again. Could be related to automatic defenses that they've since removed, or could be something else. Could be for your autopiloting vehicles, maybe?
Could be for that damn robot that we keep seeing. Could be that too.
Oh, yeah. Could be.
I've theorized my own video that the AI controller chip is actually a material you have to construct to fill up the mega construction project you're building in the spaceship up above.
Ah, so you reckon you might be actually trying to produce AI controllers as your objective?
Yep.
Could be.
But yeah, what else do we have in here? Computer.
Well-
I mean, not surprising to see computers as a thing you can make, but
Yeah, but my question is it like just a building piece that you use for building something else, or is it actually a computer that you might use to do more advanced things?
looking at this list, all the things I recognize on it are components of things we already know about, like the rotor and the stator and the engine we've seen before, and they're definitely, they don't do anything in themselves. I would guess they're all crafting components.
Yeah, that's nice.
So maybe everything else here is a crafting component, but maybe not. The other thing I find interesting on this page is lots of things have this advanced prefix, so I wonder if that means lots of the components are going to have multiple versions.
Well, maybe that was then, and now they're doing it with MK2 and MK3.
Yeah, there's another UI and you see an oil pump on it.
Yeah.
Specifically oil pump, not oil water pump, so I guess we're right that they did drop the water at some point.
And there's still, again, the one turbine too.
Yeah, they still got a wind turbine, so that is kind of interesting. Have we seen the biomass generator listed?
Nope.
I don't think
It could be that they used to have a wind turbine and then at some point swapped it for biomass.
Could be. So if you look at 109, Anna decided to come with the idea of fix it. And one of those characters we can see in a little short video that they made, where you can see Ada, which seems to be like, they explain that it's in IA.
I think they said it's an OS, or that Fix-It has an OS. I'm not sure if they were talking about the HUD or this named character Ada.
Well, the main important part, I think, is that it seems to be like giving us information about, I don't know what, because I'm not able to read what is right there, but...
You can read it.
It says, Ada, milestone reached. You have unlocked several buildings aimed to provide the last needed, I think, to build a basic factory such as walls, stairs, lookout tower, and a biomass burner. Lookout tower!
Yes, exactly.
CPU!
Yes, exactly.
Lookout tower!
I know.
But at least we can assume that this character or this EA is meant to be like, of some guidance throughout the games.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting because I don't remember I've seen that in most video.
Yeah, definitely haven't seen mention of a character called Ada or ADA before. I suppose we don't know if it's a character or,
Well,
as you say, it could just be like your computer talking to you, or it could be a character that is a computer.
Yeah.
Definitely giving us info on what we're doing. Interesting talking about milestones, though. I suppose that's going to be the structure for the game's progression system.
most likely, yeah.
What those milestones are, who knows?
To jump ahead a bit, we see Natalie's computer screen. On there's quite a lot of stuff, most of which I can't make out, but I haven't had a good look. But immediately we see what looks like the game's main menu. I mean, it could be another early prototype, but that's definitely a main menu. You can definitely see some menus for multiplayer.
Yeah.
Then 145, it's another in-game menu. This one looks really sort of grungy, doesn't it?
To me, it look old school.
It does look old school.
And I kind of love it, to be honest.
Yeah, it does look pretty awesome, yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me of my whole Command and Conquer stuff.
This is third perspective. Can we get third perspective in the game, actually?
That's a good point. That is third person.
That'd be interesting.
Huh. At 55 seconds, she's holding printouts of what looks to me like a much more polished menu.
I think this is the workbench recipe list. And on the other side, you have the character inventory, because on the bottom of that place is equipment, hands, and body.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
2 equipment slots.
Yeah.
But on the left there's definitely things we haven't had before. I've not seen a reference to a cog anywhere.
What's a Sam ingot?
What does it say under ingot?
Fluctuator.
Fluctuate, yeah.
Fluctuator.
Color cartridge.
Color cartridge. Well, that must be how the guys in the alpha presentation video, they got different colors for the buildings.
Yeah, like it, Rebar. Sounds fun.
Yes, spiked rebar, so I can only assume that's what you're loading into your rebar gun.
Or maybe that's an upgrade.
There's an interesting thing, because we see wire, but if you look at the closely to the bottom of the sheets, you have high-speed wire. So does it mean that's like we're gonna get more energy, so we're gonna need better wire?
Well, high-speed wire might be just for building AI computer components.
I would love, like, we know there's a nuclear reactor, so like having like high amount of power. If you have normal wire, it doesn't work, so you have to change the wire. Could be pretty cool.
Would make sense. I can see that being a bit frustrating though if you had to rebuild your whole power system.
I agree, but then again, you know, it could. It's.
Though then again,
you know,
it could actually end up being quite a tactical thing. Like, you know, you build your stuff for a low amount of power, and then you might have to distribute to several such places with bigger power wires. And, you know, then once you get close, you've probably already split off your big, you know, your power into several places.
And to be honest, like most player, biggest fun is to like just rebuild their stuff anyway. So.
I mean, yes and no. I feel like when it's things like, now I have to tear down all my power cables and just do them the same, but with the upgraded version, that would be a bit tedious.
That gets quick, tedious fast, yeah.
To be honest, that's one of the things that put me off Factorio some of the time. You know, just when you're happy with your setup for all of your basic furnaces, you unlock the next furnace type, and then you have to, you know, rearrange it all, or you've unlocked the longer inserter arms, so now you can do it all more compact, and you're like, okay, I better rip it all up and do it again.
Yeah.
Well, it depends. That's behavior like that is certainly feasible in Factorio, but you can just leave it like that, and just leave it as your starter base and not bother with it.
Yeah, that's true.
The much more annoying and much more relevant to that example is what do you do with the belts, which you start with the yellow belts, and then you have the red belts, and then you have the blue belts, and then you have to redesign all the belts in all your factory because now you have to account for a much higher throughput.
We do know that we are going to have probably that same problem in Satisfactory, because we know there are multiple upgraded versions of the belts that go fast.
Exactly. So we already have one system for that. I don't know if we want to impose the same system for power distribution as well.
There's another thing really interesting. Just under the high-speed wire, can you read it? Because I certainly can.
Gold something?
Gold ingot?
Gold ingot.
Ah, yeah. I think we have seen mention of gold.
All right.
Very early on, I think Oscar literally said the word gold in his developer highlight, and that was all we heard of it.
All right.
Yep. And that's how you make high-speed wire.
Oh yeah,
okay.
that's true.
Okay.
It would be made from gold. And yeah, I suppose that does further back up your theory, seePyou, of it just being used to make chips, because obviously that's what we use gold for in the real world when it comes to technology.
It fits.
Yeah, it does fit.
Why would the gold ingot be there in the high-speed wire close to it? I don't know.
That's true. Shortly after, we see a close-up of some sort of inventory screen, again with Simon on it.
And it's really, really interesting, because
I feel like there's a few things here we haven't seen.
There are a lot of things here we haven't seen.
they are tools, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Because, like...
First thing I want to say about this, actually, in the previous video, when we discussed Jace's little playthrough demo, there was this icon to the right of Simon there. And we were puzzling over what it might be. Someone pointed out that we've actually seen that. That's the icon for the jetpack. Chainsaw we know from before. The other thing that we were puzzled by is the thing bottom left with the 20. 3 things around that we've not seen before, right?
Yeah.
Well, the left one is the rebar gun, has to be.
Yeah.
But what is on top?
Above the rebar gun is, I don't know. I thought that was the long version of the chainsaw. Didn't the guys in the release trailer have long ass...
Could be.
They have very long chainsaws.
Yeah, it could be.
Interesting.
Like a second
possible.
version of the chainsaw. That could be.
Yeah. I mean, one thing we've definitely seen a lot of are multiple versions of things.
But why
so
do we
that's
have
quite
the
likely.
chainsaw in one side and a long chainsaw in the other?
Probably because they've just chucked some icons here to tease us. It's not necessarily going to make any sense.
Okay.
Underneath Simon, I don't recognise either of those two.
Yeah, that's weird.
Thing on the left, could it be a metal detector?
I was about to say that it looked a lot like a metal detector of some sort, but
I'm at 218 now. He sort of moused over a few things, and I can see. I think it's showing the costs on the right and the buildings that you're making on the left.
That's exactly right.
wait, what? Okay, so at some point there's an hadron collider.
Really?
Well, I'm looking at it right now, so yeah.
Oh yeah, Hadron creates dark matter.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay.
Again, let's say it right now. Again, it's from earlier development. It might not be in the game after all, but that's still really, really
yeah, but that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hadron collider, I would see it as a big building again. You know, so
Maybe
It kind of has to be.
Who knows?
yeah.
I suppose you would expect it to be, given what they're like in real life.
Well, yeah, the real-life Hadron Collider is about 100 kilometers in diameter.
Yeah, it's
so,
ridiculous. To move on from there,
Really, at the beginning of it, you are right under the power tab, and you can see the biomass burner, the coal generator, fuel generator, and nuclear power plant.
oh yeah, no sign of a wind turbine.
Yeah.
Nope. But you still start to seeing the mentality of MK2 and MK3 now
Yes,
taking a hold.
you're right.
Exactly.
Power poles.
So 3 types of power poles, yeah.
Exactly, and it's not advanced.
Well, we are also seeing it's got info on the nuclear power plant, and there are components that start with advanced. So they haven't dropped the advanced thing entirely at
Not
this
entirely, no.
point. Iron screw, I don't think is a component we've seen before, but again, could just be like a renamed rod or something, who knows.
Yeah.
Or a rename for the screws.
But interesting seeing these 3 power pole types. I think that's the first time we've seen multiple power poles.
Yes, it is.
I wonder what the advantage will be. Longer range or just connect more things to them? Because Jace pointed out in his demo video that you could only connect a couple of things to each power pole.
Yeah. I think he said it was 4.
Or it's taller, or it has a bigger range.
Could be that too. In 220, you have transport.
Yes, this is interesting. I'd say this again confirms something we speculated on ages ago in the splitter merger video, that there's multiple different types of splitters.
And merger.
Yeah, so we're seeing a basic merger there, but there's also a mega conveyor splitter and an advanced conveyor splitter. And our theory on that before was that the upgrades let you sort in different ways.
You cannot know that. That can just be basically simple, just like Factorio. You have 3 different speeds, and you need to have 3 different speeds of everything else that attaches to them.
But based on the splitter video we saw, the visually different ones were behaving differently. Some of them were splitting one component, some of them were just randomly splitting components, and some of them were clearly sorting. My best theory on these is definitely that the upgraded ones can sort, whereas the basic ones can, but I don't know what a mega splitter would do.
Let's just say I hope they don't do that. Sorting is something that splitters should be able to do from the start. I can imagine loads of uses for them. Why would the sorting and the splitting just be relevant to advanced ones?
Well, maybe you've got fewer components to deal with early on in the game and don't necessarily need.
Maybe that's what the EA chip is for, like making them more smart and be able to like understand what they're doing.
Then we see a huge organization tab.
Yeah, which is really, really interesting because there's a lot of
so
nice
much
things
in here. So we can see lots of cosmetically different walls and floors and foundations.
I've seen
a mega foundation.
Everything's need to be mega.
So we can only guess if there's functional differences between most of these, but certainly different appearances.
There's stuff that are really interesting because we've seen the fence and the different floor, the foundation, and then what is that? But what is the
magnetic pillow? I guess it catches metal things? I don't know. Oh, I just noticed powered wall.
Yep.
That's interesting.
Why do you need
that
a powered
is interesting.
wall? Does it carry power?
Yeah, I'd guess a wall that carries current for you, yeah.
Well, how about connecting the outside wall to your inside? if you separate your factory and you close it off, how do you bring power inside? If you close off your factories with walls and ceilings and all these kind of things, then you don't want just a straight cable to go through a window so that you can have power inside.
That's a very good point. Exactly. Also, though, I can just see it being really useful, being able to just make all your walls powered. Then you can just presumably stick a power cable to the wall rather than having to lay lots of power poles inside your factory.
One is enough. This is where it comes in. And maybe another where it comes out. Yeah, but that's enough.
Maybe.
Then again, that's up to the player to decide. The point is that this type of tile could be that.
Okay, 238. This is interesting because it's the same menu we had a close-up of earlier. And it looks very polished, so I would guess this is close to current. Or at least, much more recent than anything else we've seen in this video. Craft bench, and we can see the player is stood at a craft bench here. And it's a clicky button.
Yeah, apparently you're clicking stuff.
Clicking, and they're crafting iron ingots directly from ore there.
Yeah, I don't know how that's possible.
They haven't had to use a furnace.
Well, I mean, assuming they are right in front of the craft bench, and like...
Yeah, I guess the crafting bench has like a micro furnace in it or something.
Yeah, you can see a lot of like little things in training behind something that looked like a scanner on the left side of some sort. And
looks like a 3D printer on the right there.
Well, yeah, it could be.
This looks exactly like a 3D printer.
That's cool. And also on the left there, we've got an intriguing little statement that says establishing stage.
You're reaching now from knowledge, come on.
Okay, then we've got 3 minutes 20, a close-up of a menu that I'm pretty sure looks like the menu Jace had in his video to build buildings from. And we see that hub again. And, I did not pick up on this before, but that hub icon... That's our damn flying drone on it.
No shit.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Oh my god. Okay. And the fact that it's the hub seems to back up a theory I had before. Looking at the alpha footage video, most of the bases seem to have one of these flying drones landed at something. So I guess they had one of the hub in each of their bases.
So, if you look carefully, you can read the actual info of the hub. The art of your factory. This is where you complete fix-it milestone to unlock additional blueprint of building, vehicle, parts, equipment, etc.
Okay.
It's quite hard to read, but...
Alright. That explains a lot about tech and milestones that we saw mentioned earlier in Ada's message.
Yeah.
The purpose of that drone flyer thing still remains a mystery, though. Yeah,
could still be for, like, selling stuff or getting stuff
I suppose
from space.
It could literally just be how you arrived on the planet.
It's your ship.
And it just stays landed there for the whole game.
Yeah, but then again, we saw it, like, moving a lot in other videos, so...
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you do see it landing and taking off.
Unless it's how multiplayers work, like, people just...
Oh yeah, what, you connect and you arrive in the pod. Oh, I like it.
Could be.
The other thing I wanted to comment on this screen is we see this floating menu on the right, which is a to-do list. It comes into focus very briefly, but you can read what it is, and it says the hub at the top, and then underneath there's a list of components, which I guess are the parts you need to build the hub.
Yeah.
Well, and a new thing in there is quantum computer, which we've not seen before.
Yeah.
Well, also, just a mysterious radio-controlled unit.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's something I don't remember having seen in any other video too. So.
Nope.
But again, they may just be bits that you use to build this hub, and that could be it.
Yeah.
But so we got a to-do list there, and there's a big button that says clear list. So to me, it looks like it's not instructions. It's not the game saying this is what you must do next. It looks as if you're able to add and remove things from it. So it's your own personal to-do list of, I guess, things you want to build.
That could be nice because, like, you also have, like, if you look beside the name The Hub on the to-do list, you have, like, a minus and a plus.
Yeah.
So you can
exactly.
add, and there's a one at the... So if you want, for example, to build 3 hubs...
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna need...
I wonder if that means you can build 3 of this hub, but...
I kind of hope so, but... I mean,
interesting.
flying robots everywhere.
But, seePyou, I think this does rule out your theory that this is a Wi-Fi hub.
You do realize that we've been at this for an hour and we've only gone 3 minutes 21 seconds into the video.
Oh yeah, one thing I wanted to comment on, at about 4 minutes 10 seconds, you see her screen again, and she's using blueprints, which are a feature of Unreal Editor. And I'm interested to see that there. I don't know if she's just prototyping, but blueprints are essentially an alternative to writing code. So it could just be that she's prototyping some elements, because presumably she's not a programmer, she's a designer.
Yeah.
So she's using a visual blueprint system.
But she's helping Jace with programming.
Yes, she's helping Jace.
Like everyone else.
Oh dear. Yeah, like everyone else, still.
Well, it gave him more time to play RuneScape, really, so...
It will, but she's a RuneScape player as well, so that's
since he was 9, and for the past 5 years, which makes her 14.
Yeah, so she's 14, yeah. But yeah, I think that's everything from the video, except a brief appearance from Simon.
What? I don't know what you're talking...
Yeah. So, do we want to briefly discuss Epic Games and THQ?
You said seePyou in one of your videos, which was really great, by the way.
Thank you.
I think it's a really, really great thing. Both for the company, but for the market too, because like Steam is great and all, but people seems to don't understand that if Steam doesn't have any competition, and I mean by that real competition as a market, it's bad. So it's really, really good for us, the player, because we have already see what's good in this. Because we've seen in Epic Games market, we've seen free games these days around, which we might not have seen if Steam wasn't around. And we're gonna see that more in Steam too, as much as the Epic Game Stores is rising. Steam's gonna have to make better price and stuff to appeal to player. So that is really, really interesting for us. It's
that
not
is
a bad
true.
thing. And like I've seen a lot of people saying, okay, but the Epic Game Store is broken. It doesn't have this or it doesn't have that. Well, neither had Steam when it began. And that's a really important thing to remember. I don't want to say it was bad.
I'll say it. It was shit.
Yeah, it was bad because it was starting. And just...
Oh, I remember when I first installed the orange box from a CD. Oh, Steam was a very different animal.
When the first time you had to install Steam, it was just, what am I doing with this? Why can't I just buy my game and install it? And now we've gone over to the other side completely. No, I don't want to buy my game. I want it on Steam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
It's interesting the way what people want changes so drastically.
Yeah, so it's important to remember it started somewhere, Steam, and so is Epic Game Store. Give them time. I don't want to tell you like it's the best store in the universe, but give them time. Give them time to develop, give them time to establish themselves, to make stuff better, and then judge them. But for now, I'm gonna say that right off the bat, it's good. It's good for Coffee Stain Studio because they're gonna get money from it. And more money for the studio means more game for us in the futures, or probably more game, more support for Satisfactory. It means a lot for the gamer that we are. So it's really, really a good deal. Trust me.
Yeah, like I'm still on the fence about it. Like I certainly think that it's good for Steam to have competition. I think it sucks when anyone has that much of a monopoly. That can only lead to badness. But you know, I don't know whether we can especially trust Epic Games whilst we are framing Epic Games here as the underdog. We do still have to accept that they are also themselves a big, scary, very financially powerful company.
I agree.
You see, this is why I don't frame this discussion as such. They're not an underdog. Steam is not the overarching body here. No, Steam is a company. Epic is not evil or good or excellent or underdog or weak or anything. All they are is a competitor. That's all they are. I've never said anything about them being good, evil, or anything. They can be as evil as they want. And also, when you frame them as the underdog, you're also saying stuff like give them time. No, I'm a consumer, then I don't have to give them time for anything. Either you're good or you're not. This is the kind of relationship we have to have with these companies. They're not an underdog to be pitied. They're not there to doing mercy to us that we have to give them time for. Either you like them or you're not. The issue is not this. The issue is whether Coffee Stain has the right to not be on Steam. This is the argument many people make.
It's important, but the thing is, when I say like give them time and stuff, I don't say like don't complain about stuff, because that's exactly the contrary that you have to do. You have to complain. You have to ask them to be better than what they are. And this is exactly what happened with Steam. I mean, Steam, there were a lot of people like giving them shit for what they're doing. So they improved.
Sure, all those things can happen. But the point, people, why this is a controversy, which I don't think it is, it's just been propped up to be one, is because people saying, but I don't want to go there. And Coffee Stain, you're betraying me. That is why this has become a controversy. Not because of whatever Steam or Epic Games are at the moment. The sense of the people, of the consumers who want to play Satisfactory, but they don't want to have an Epic Games launcher in the computers, is broadcasted as a betrayal by Coffee Stain towards them.
But again, as you say, seePyou, Coffee Stain themselves are a company, and you know, they have their own agenda and are options to either buy their products or not, really, at the end of the day.
Exactly. They are free to do everything they want.
Yeah, exactly. They can do what they want, and it's our choice if we buy into it by supporting them and buying their software.
Exactly.
One of the biggest argument I've seen is that like it's bad for the consumer, which is false. It's really good for the consumer, because with the exclusivity deal being like 1 year, I think, it's gonna be good too, because that means that after that, if that doesn't work on Epic Game, they can go sell it on Steam if they want to.
And this is now where everybody's triggered. Exclusivity. This word is where everybody gets hopped on and says, we fought against console exclusive, not realizing that this is exactly not the same thing. That in order for competition to exist, Steam has to lose. If Steam doesn't lose out of selling that game, if Steam doesn't lose the revenue from selling that game, then Steam will not have a competition, will it? How do you express competition on the PC platform, which is again exclusive by its own rights because it's not available on PlayStation, so you already have a platform exclusivity, but let's disregard that. How do you actually compete against Steam if you don't allow your game to be sold there?
Kind of on the subject of companies and what their agendas are. There's also, of course, been the news of the THQ takeover of Coffee Stain. Obviously, it's quite a while since that, and we haven't seen any major change. Obviously, there's been Jace's couple of videos on the subject. Obviously, people have varying opinions on if this means anything for Coffee Stain. Like, will it mean a big change for the company? Will it not? EViLGUARD, I think you dug up a PDF. Where did you even find that?
The real answer is that I was hinted to it by Snot. Basically, there is THQ Investor Group, and so I've digged into that. It's public.
So just to be clear for our viewers here, this is a PDF released by THQ to their investors.
Exactly.
So it's essentially looks like slides for a presentation about what they intend to do with Coffee Stain, having bought it.
That's what it is.
So what did you dig up from this?
Well, there is a lot of interesting thing. If you really, really want to go and look about it, there is stuff about why THQ bought it, and it's because it's a great company that makes a lot of cash, because it's always fall under, are they making profits or not? And is it like a good thing for us to buy them? And basically most of the document is just saying yes, it's a good deal. Because they've made a lot of things. There have, for example, Goat Simulator, which made a lot of cash. They have Sanctum, which made a lot of cash. But my most interesting find in that is the Coffee Stain's role in THQ Nordic, which is interesting because a lot of people were scared about it. Like, will this change anything related to Satisfactory or Coffee Stains as a studio? As much as I understand this PDF, it doesn't seem like it. Like, it seems like Coffee Stain will be their own things.
Yeah, it's saying focus on executing business plan, i.e. current business and new games pipeline. So that essentially sounds like keep doing what they were doing already, make some games.
And make what they were doing better, which is important.
And most of this just seems to be a synergy thing, like both companies can benefit from each other.
There's also really important stuff in there. So if you look, at some point it say no cost saving program planned, which is really, really important, which means they doesn't
so
plan...
that means they're not going to be sucking money out of the company.
And they're not gonna, like, try to fire people out of the company to try to make profit out of it. There's no need for that right now, and probably not in the futures. The Coffee Stain Holding AB to operate as an independent unit under the Coffee Stain brand.
Yeah, it also means they're not going to kind of just absorb them onto their label of THQ. They're still going to make games as Coffee Stain.
Exactly.
They're not now going to be branded as THQ games.
Exactly.
And they'll still be published by Coffee Stain.
You can still be scared for the futures. I'm not going to stop you there. If for any reason Coffee Stain start to doing really, really bad, THQ might decide to change their idea of that and like incorporate Coffee Stain into something else. But to be fair, as a fanboy, I don't think this will happen. So
one thing I did find interesting is on page 12, development and publishing pipeline.
Yeah,
it's got some things there. TBA. So to be announced. These are things that Coffee Stain are involved with. They've got an unannounced project based on existing IP.
Well,
so that implies that Coffee Stain are working on another project that's related to either Goat Sim, Satisfactory, Deep Rock Galactic, possibly.
Could be.
I mean, my best theory is surely it's going to be another Goat Sim spin-off.
could be, honestly. But like, yes, it is interesting because we know now from there that there's something new in the future.
On top of that, there's also unannounced project new IP, so they've got another completely new thing that they're developing. And then also there's another unannounced project that they're just publishing.
Yeah,
so 2 new games from Coffee Stain, one of which related to something they've already done, one not.
Yeah. It's gonna be really interesting to see what those will be, and like it might take like a year or maybe 2 years before we even know what those IP are, but it's still really, really interesting to know that there's still stuff in the pipeline.
We're certainly in exciting times as ever. I'm pretty hyped to see all of this, these hints of content in Satisfactory itself, and also these little clues of maybe some new games from Coffee Stain appearing soon.
I'm not gonna lie, like, I'm really excited.
Thank you for listening through to the end. If you enjoyed this, I recommend checking out seePyou and EViLGUARD on their own channels. I've been building a prototype for a mechanical keyboard on my other channel, and you can look at that if that sounds interesting. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.